Hey, CX Passport travelers, we have come to, as you can see in the background here, that time of year when the light gets a little bit longer. The days should get a little bit shorter, but the angles certainly get a little bit longer. And it's time to be thinking about that wonderful end of year holiday period. And so I'll be taking a few weeks off as I do. And one of the fun traditions that have been started here with CX Passport is I put together a little compilation of some of the more fun parts of the episode, which frequently find themselves happening during the first class lounge. So over the next couple weeks, we'll go into rerun mode here, and I hope you enjoy this compilation of a few select ones. It's really hard to pick, but a few select ones from the first class lounges throughout 2023. I hope you enjoy these. I know that I enjoyed putting them together, and I hope that you are getting excited about what will be the launch of season 3 as we get into 2024. I already know the lineup of our first series of guests, and it is already fantastic, and I am super excited to share that with you once we get to 2024. But until then, take a little break here. Stop down and join not just me in the first class lounge, but this week we'll join Megan Bassler from the US, Tshili Khupe from the UK, Jennifer Meunier from Brazil, Tyler Saxey from the US, Sandra Thompson from the UK, and then George Nagatsuka from Japan. Enjoy. All right, Megan, we're going to take a little break from technology. I think all of us would enjoy taking a little break from that. We're going to pivot out of the business world here and talk a little travel, a little change of pace.
Yeah.
I know that the California to Austin flight's not that long, but it can, there's some disruptions. Sometimes that can be a challenge on a flight, and it can be nice to stop in the first class lounge. So I want to invite you to do that and join me here in the first class lounge. We'll move quickly here and have a little bit of fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
From my past. Okay, I'm probably gonna get some judgment here because it doesn't require a passport. But Hawaii by far is probably my favorite place ever. I was very fortunate. I got to travel to Hawaii, kind of throughout my childhood. And then my husband and I actually went on our honeymoon to Hawaii this past January. So definitely have a sweet spot for Hawaii. Maui, if I'm being more specific,
Oh,
but
getting even more precise. So first of
yeah,
all, there will never be judgment on CX Passport. That's not who I
love
am and
it.
what we are. So you travel wherever you want. And realize that Hawaii is an international destination to many around the globe. So it
Very
requires a
true.
passport for some. So it was
Very true.
absolutely welcome within the list. And congratulations, by the way. What a wonderful place to
Thank
celebrate
you.
a wedding.
Thank
What
you.
is, looking forward, what is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Very, very top of my list has always been Italy. I've
Oh,
heard amazing things. It looks beautiful, but honestly, I think it's because my three major food groups are pizza, pasta, and bread. Actually, if we're talking four, let's throw wine in there. But yeah, Italy's always been number one on my list.
you and I are food spirit animals. It sounds
Mm.
like we share a very similar approach and enjoyment of that, which is wonderful because the next question in the first class lounge is, what is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Okay, so if we're not talking carbs, like I just mentioned,
Hey.
big on the carbs. I really love sushi. And actually, fun fact I'll share real quick. The sushi restaurant I grew up going to up in the Bay Area where I'm from a few years ago redid their menu, and the Megan roll is now officially
No
on the
way.
menu. hmm
No
hmm
way. Well,
Yeah, pretty
congratulations.
excited about that. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll talk off mic as to where that restaurant is, and I'll go check that out sometime and enjoy the Megan roll.
Absolutely.
What is in the Megan roll?
See, this is where you're gonna think I'm boring. It's nothing super fantastic. It's ultimately like a good old California roll with some salmon on top and some special sauces and toppings and things. So I'm not extremely experimental when it comes to my food, but I always ordered the same thing every time I've gone since I was honestly 4 or 5.
Oh, that's
So it
awesome.
was pretty awesome they added it.
That's awesome, and I will discard your disclaimers. It doesn't matter whether it's complex or simple. If it's still something special, it is something special. You're talking to someone who lives in Texas, and barbecue can be one of the most simple
There you
items
go.
out there, and it is still incredibly special.
There
Let's
you
go the
go.
other direction. If you're eating sushi that young, this will be an interesting answer. But what is something your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
I was and still am honestly so picky when it comes to food. Like I'm weird. I'm weird with my food preferences. Growing up, I would just say in general, veggies. They tried to push veggies on me constantly. Wasn't about it. Even today, I could be a lot better about eating my greens. But I'd say just like that whole category as a whole was always a struggle getting me to eat.
Love it. Veggies come up quite a bit as an answer to
Hmm.
that question.
Hmm.
So thinking to the travel, you've been to Hawaii, you have Italy in the future. You've got other destinations I'm sure you've been to and you want to go to. What is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will
Okay.
not leave home without?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, for Christmas, one of our partners actually gifted me a Kindle, and I've never been a big reader. Over the years, it was more kind of like personal growth books, things like that. But
Hmm.
since January, I've read 13 books, and it's become
Oh,
like a true passion and kind of obsession. So I think I'd have to say I would bring my Kindle.
Well, Chili, as I mentioned, that would be the first time that that topic has come into the show. And it shows, though, regardless of product, regardless, it really does show that element of listen is not just collecting the information. There's that analyze part of it as well that you talked about with the business analysts. But we're going to stop all business talk here for a little because it can be a little exhausting to be in the business world. You've got clients all over the globe. Perhaps you've done some traveling to make sure and see them and help them advance in their business. And so I wanted to have you join me here in the First Class Lounge. We'll take a little break here, move quickly, and have some fun here. What is a dream travel location from your past?
from my past. That would be Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. It's on the border of Zimbabwe and
Yeah.
Zambia. It's absolutely amazing. It's one of the seven wonders of the world, and it's just honestly, you have to be there, and you'll see it on pictures and things like that. But being there and just looking at it, and looking at this wonder, it's incredible. It really is.
Gosh, I really, really want to get to that. The pictures do look beautiful. I've done Niagara. Okay, that's for us in the Western Hemisphere. I want to see Iguazu Falls down in the Southern Hemisphere, and then Victoria Falls. Holy cow! I've heard just spectacular. To hear you say it just makes me
Yeah.
want to get there even more. So, thinking of travel that I want to get to, now it's your turn. What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
I'd love to go to Australia. I'd love to go to
Mm,
Australia. I haven't been there yet because it's such a long trip and pretty expensive as well. But
yeah,
it's on my bucket list. I want to go to Australia. I want to visit. I want to see Sydney. I want to see the Harbour Bridge, of
sure.
course, everyone does. I want to visit. I've got friends who live out in Melbourne, so I want to go out there in Melbourne, see that, and just immerse myself because apparently the Australian culture and the British culture are pretty similar. But it's like moving Britain and then putting it in a hot country with dangerous animals. Um, so I just want to experience that.
Yes, yes. Oh, it, certainly want to get there as well. It is a far trip for me as well. What is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Oh, I love a Boerwors sausage, and it's spelled Boerwors. Um,
Yeah.
it's a beef sausage with like mixed spices and bits. It is absolutely incredible. If you've never tried it, you have to look it up, find it, try it.
Well,
You'll
I
like it.
will. And you're the second guest to bring that up. I had a guest from South Africa, and he mentioned that specific role. And that's like the not the number one reason I want to go to South Africa, but it certainly has bumped up in the list because he spoke of it so highly. So I understand your excitement around it, and I can't wait to have it. Let's
It's
go the
great.
other direction.
Mhm.
What is a thing you hated and your parents forced you to eat it as a kid?
Oh. So there is. I'm originally from Zimbabwe. My parents are from Zimbabwe, and
Okay.
when we visited, there is a worm that grows on these trees, and it's called a mapane worm.
Okay.
And they basically you just basically pick it and you grab its head and you get all the green stuff out and then it's dried and then you fry it. with salt and oil, and it was a worm to me, right? And was like, that's disgusting. I'm not eating that. But they were like, you've got to try it. So I've tried a lot of foods, and I think them actually forcing me to eat that and try that meant that I've just managed to try loads of different delicacies from all around the world, and
Right.
it's kind of opened my mind up to trying things.
You and I, so chili, that is not my item of things that my parents forced me to eat. But similarly, I'm willing to at least try something once. And you're right. Let's go around the globe, try some things. That's okay. Doesn't mean I have to
Yeah,
like it again, but that
yeah.
openness to try it at least once. So speaking of your travels, let's go back to travel. What is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Oh, it's got to be my pillow, my travel pillow. Oh, I love that thing.
Oh, Jennifer, I mean, everything you just said is what I love about Thailand. It is, that is an interesting perspective that you brought there. I hadn't really thought of the fact that, coming from a very touch oriented culture to one that is not so touch oriented,
Yes.
and yet you still feel warmth there. That's a point that I'd never thought of before and haven't heard before. So I'm glad you shared that. I have now learned something even about a culture that I thought I
Yeah.
knew pretty well and loved deeply. One thing I do know, and it's true of where I'm coming from out of Texas, USA, true of you coming out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Thailand's a long way away from where
Yes.
we live. And that travel can wear you down, and it can be nice to stop off in the lounge, especially the first class lounge. So today I'm going to invite you to stop off here with me in the first class lounge. We'll move quickly here and have a little bit of fun. Now, this may be the answer you've already told us, but I'm curious. What is a dream travel location from your past?
Well, no surprises here. It's actually Thailand. Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah, I've always dreamed to go there. It was everything I
Mm,
was expecting for. And I highly
wonderful.
recommend to everyone, actually.
Well, I highly recommend it as well, just not too many of you, because I don't want everybody there, but it is a wonderful place, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, let's go the other direction, Jennifer. What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Actually, there's so much location I want to go, and to the most exotic one, and also a lot of here in Brazil because it's a huge country, and you have
Mm.
or uh, every time something new to know about. But the one place that I've always dreamed about is actually New York because I'm a
Ah,
huge fan of the TV show Friends. So I'm a Friends generation, and I have always loved it. So I think I even postponed always this trip because I wanted to be so perfect that I can't decide to go.
well, that's awesome, Jennifer. I know
Yeah,
that my family, when we went to New York, we've been there several times now. It's a little easier for me to get to, certainly.
yeah.
And when we did go there, we did do some Friends elements. Like we, of course, went to
Oh,
the corner where their apartment was, even though, of course, it has nothing to do with their apartment, and all of those things. So I definitely hope that you go there. It warms this host's heart since I try to make every title of CX Passport a Friends like title, the one with or the one where
yeah.
they. So you are in good company here as someone else who loves the TV show Friends, and there's so much more to New York as well. So I hope that you
Yes,
get there
yes.
someday. One thing about Brazil, one thing about Thailand, one thing about Brazil, New York, phenomenal food, right? These are all great places. So what is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Wow, that's actually the a complicated question for me because I love
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Everything.
But since I'm French, I'm a cheese girl. So yeah, I can't live without cheese, for sure.
Ah, oh my gosh. I love cheese. You make me so happy. Friends and cheese. I've got
Yeah,
everything with that I need.
we got a
All right, let's go
match.
the other direction. Yeah, we'll go the other direction, Jennifer. What is something your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
Well, I think my mom is gonna kill me when she hears this because she's an incredible chef and everything that she cooks is absolutely amazing. But I mean, when you think as a kid, there are certain things that sometimes we don't eat. And she
Right.
used to make us liver, and me and my brother we were like, "Oh my God!" I mean, the texture,
Yep.
it was something that was very hard for us.
Oh my gosh. It's interesting, Jennifer. Liver has come up a couple times as that question. I think there's
Oh,
almost a
really?
generational thing that the
Yeah.
generation prior was a little more liver oriented than perhaps the current one. I've
That's
heard that
true.
a couple times, and I agree with you. I remember some really bad liver and onion meals that I had to eat as a kid, so I'm with you. Let's close out the lounge here. We got to go back and travel again. So what is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Well, I live in Brazil, so there is one item that is indispensable here. It's Havaianas, the flip-flop Brazilian.
Ah,
So, I mean, even in winter, we use them all the time, inside the house, outside. So we never live without, actually. So definitely that would be something that would be on my backpack.
well, Tyler, I appreciate that, the idea of taking into account the regional differences and the like. Now, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to be both in Hoboken and Hong Kong. I believe at one time, maybe it still has, Cathay Pacific had a nonstop flight from JFK to Hong Kong, and I'm sure other airlines do as well. Well, it's a long flight. I've done the DFW one, not the JFK one. And it's long, and it's nice to take a break when we're doing that sort of thing. So it's nice to, if you got access to that first class lounge, especially the Cathay Pacific one there in Hong Kong. But I'd like to invite you to join me here in the first class lounge. We'll move quickly here and hopefully have a little bit of fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
Ooh, like you said, anywhere in the snow. I'm a big snow person. I love to go skiing. I currently live in Florida, so I haven't been able to do it. So anytime that I can go out and get some fresh powder in the mountains of Utah or Colorado, that's my dream vacation for me.
I love that. I would love to be at Snowbird right now. Let's go the other direction. What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've always thought Australia would be really cool. I have never been down under. We have an amazing team down in Australia that I hope to get to see eventually. That is one place. Sydney would be probably on a bucket list of places to go to.
Well, there you go. Let's use this clip for your next business justification. If I need to go see my team over in Sydney, it's
Make that happen.
Yeah, I like that idea. What is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Oof, I'm a barbecue guy. Anything barbecue. Love. I heard the saying that when you become 40, you've either got to become a master of woodworking or a master of smoking meats, and I took the smoking meats approach, and so I started doing my own barbecue, brisket, pulled pork, chicken, anything off of barbecue is probably my go-to.
Oh boy, that sounds really, really good. I love this question. I hate it at the same time because then it makes me hungry and want to get something to go eat. Now, let's go the other way. What is a thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
Ooh, I don't know if my parents ever forced me to eat it, but I am not a tomato guy. I can eat just about anything, but the strange thing about it is I hate tomatoes by themselves, but I love a salsa. I love a fresh garden salsa. I love anything with tomatoes in it, just not a plain tomato. Can't do it.
I love the variety of the answers. Well, no, it's not strange. I've had tomatoes answered here before, and I do hear it. It is funny how once you prep it, then it's completely different. I love tomatoes, but there have been plenty of folks that have said, no, too squishy, don't like it. What is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Ooh, that's not including my phone. That's a tough one. Flip-flops and swimsuit guy. I could make it just about anywhere
Right.
if I have my phone. So I would say my swimsuit.
Sandra, the comparison between a bot and your dog, and I don't know, I might challenge you. I might say that the dog may have a little more innate intelligence than some of the bots that I've interacted with. Got some great stories out there of some bots, as we all do. Really, it's certainly that makes me chuckle to think of those two. Now, one of the things that can be nice, you talked about popping over to Vienna, but I'm sure you've had your fair share of longer travel than that. And travel can be a bit of a wearing time. And to to take a little break can be enjoyable. So I'm going to invite you to take that same break right here and join me here in the First Class Lounge. We're going to have a little bit of fun and hopefully move a little bit quickly as well. So what is a dream travel location from your past?
I can't just say one, so I'm going to say three really quickly. I'm going to say Ubud in Bali, I'm going to say Hoi An in Vietnam, and I'm going to say Havana in Cuba. Probably Havana in Cuba is the number one out of those three. Is that okay?
That is very okay. And you have made this American quite jealous, as you know that it is either a mixture of challenging or illegal for me to travel to Cuba, although there's things have softened up a bit. So I always find it fascinating. What did you notice in Havana that really caught your eye, that made it particularly special for you?
The spirit of the place, the energy, the music, the dancing. It was kind of electric.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to have to find a way to get there as I hear more and more of my non-American colleagues telling me about how wonderful it is. What is that's for my future. What about your future? What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Madagascar. And it's on the list. It's on the list. I might get there next year with all being well.
Okay. What same question. What about Madagascar? It appeals to me, but what for you? Why?
Because it has apparently some of the most unique environment, species, and
nice.
I am not aware that it's yet been, dare I say this, spoilt.
Yeah, I see. Whereas you've heard of some other destinations where we see the photos of the elephants, but if you look backwards, you see just the ring of safari vehicles. And so that's good to know about Madagascar. Now, maybe we should delete this out so that others don't hear what you said. And you can What is, Sandra, a favorite thing to eat?
A Welsh cake.
I don't know what that is. Tell me more.
So my mum's side of the family comes from Wales, and she came to London when she was 15, but my aunties and my uncles all stayed in Wales. Whenever I would go and visit them, they would make me these little cakes. They're like very short scones.
Okay.
And
all right.
They are delicious.
Oh, that sounds good. Well, as you may know, Wrexham FC has gained some notoriety in the U.S. as they have been purchased by famous folks and have found themselves promoting. Now you've given me another reason to go to Wales, other than seeing a Wrexham match. Now I got to go check out these Welsh cakes, right? That sounds fantastic. Now I'm going to go the other way on you. What is the thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
Do you know, it's a standing joke in my family. They'll say, "We've saved these for you, sprouts." I mean, come on. Who invented those things? They're absolutely disgusting. I remember growing up and thinking, I'm sure I can hide this under my knife. I'm sure I can do that. And I always got caught and I always had to eat them. And sorry for those sprout fans out there, but they're quite disgusting.
Well, you have found a sympathetic ear in me. That's my answer to this question as well. So you and I are of a very similar spirit. Let's go back to travel and close out the lounge here. What is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
So this might be another shocker, to be honest with you, Rick. It's lockable freezer bags. To be able to even get into the sea and not find all of the keys and all of your money is sodden, then lockable freezer bag inside my swimsuit, every day's a happy day.
George, a little change of pace here. As many would know, the distance to Japan, certainly from the U.S., is quite a ways, and it can wear on the traveler. And even travel inside of Japan, there's a lot more distance than I think people realize, even if you are on that Shinkansen, the bullet train, right? It can take a little while, and so it can be nice to take a rest in the lounge as you're traveling. So I'd like you to join me here in the First Class Lounge. We'll move quickly here and hopefully have a little bit of fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
So one of the areas I really enjoyed in my past travels, and actually it was a business trip, and I went to Madrid, Spain.
Oh, nice.
And it was only for about a week, but I was able to, after work, be able to do some sightseeing, and it was a very enjoyable time, and actually very similar in terms of how food is presented that's found here in Japan.
Interesting. Tell me more about that. I don't think that that would be a natural reaction, that people would think that the Japanese and the Spanish presentations would be similar.
In Japan, there's places called izakaya, and basically you get to order small different dishes of great food. And based on that concept, and what I meant by similarities with Madrid, is many of the places that I went to also had the same concept.
Yeah.
And so you're able to eat a lot of tasty food on small little plates.
I think you may have just given some listeners an idea for a new fusion restaurant, the Izakaya Tapas restaurant, and somehow blend that. Yes. Let's make that happen. I guarantee there's somebody in a trendier district than I am that's thinking of that idea and is about to come out with the Izakaya Tapas. What about going forward? What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
I think location-wise, I've not traveled over abroad to like Central America, Caribbean, or South America. So I think those are spots that I'd like to consider visiting and learning more about.
Well, I can assure you they're fantastic places. Living where I live, I'm a lot closer to it. In fact, the family, we just got back from the Dominican Republic, Caribbean destination for a daughter's school holiday. It's her last year of high school, and so we took a trip there. I highly recommend it, George. Get out and come over to this side of the world and enjoy it, because it'll be a delightful treat. We talked about food. What is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Yeah, that's a difficult question
Yes.
for me, because I love all sorts of food. But if I have to think about it, it comes from my past and growing up in New Jersey. So I love the Philadelphia cuisine, and I think I have to say pizza is my favorite type of food.
Well, I mentioned in the intro we talk about miso and we talk about meatballs, so I didn't quite I was almost there with meatballs. Pizza being, and certainly some great pizza can be found there. What about on the other side? What is a thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
Okay, so I grew up on my parents' farm, and I had no issues with any of the vegetables that we grew. I think if I remember, I didn't really like having instant ramen. It was okay at the time, but when I came to Japan and having freshly made ramen and put in front of you, it was a totally different concept, and it was fantastic, But instant ramen, I would have to say, was something not pleasant.
Now, college kids all around the U.S. are going, what do you mean? Ramen, that's what I live on. Having experienced what you're describing, it is true. I didn't know it. I was completely ignorant of it as well. I only knew what came in the little packages here out of the grocery store. But now that I've experienced real and restaurant ramen, holy cow, there's a difference to be had indeed. All right. With travel, and I know you've done it with business, you've done it with personal, what is that one item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Well, through trial and error, and mostly through the error side, I never leave home without my handy portable baggage scale to weigh my bags. Because, I tend to, when I go on business trips, buy a lot of souvenirs and things like that, and I end up paying for overweight luggage. So, yeah, portable luggage scales for me is something that I take all the time.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. If you liked today's episode, I have 3 quick next steps for you. Click subscribe on the CX Passport YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app. Next, leave a comment below the video or a review in your favorite podcast app so others can find and enjoy CX Passport too. Then head over to cxpassport.com for show notes and resources that can help you create tangible business results by delivering great customer experience. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.